What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of the Narcissists Code. I'm your favorite self-aware narcissist, Mr. Lee Hammock, better known as Mental Healness across all social media platforms. If this is your first time seeing my face or hearing my voice, I'm a diagnosed narcissist, and I use my platform on social media to raise awareness for NPD, get more people into therapy, and also validate the victims, survivors, and thrivers of said disorder. Today's episode is going to be a deep one, y'all. Deep one. Might be the trigger warning. I feel like I can't even say trigger at the beginning of the video because YouTube will censor it. Trigger warning. TWIGGER. So today's episode is going to be dedicated to the children of narcissists. So I got an inbox on Instagram. Say, hey Lee, could you keep this anonymous and rabble. Can you make a message to children of narcissists? How do we heal? How do we grow from this thing like that? So I'm not a child of a narcissist. I'm a father and I have children. And they are, in fact, children of narcissists, the children of a narcissist. But me personally, I've taken it upon myself to work on myself to make sure that the generational lineage of narcissism in my family dynamic comes to an end. You see what I'm saying? It stops with me. It stops with me. It ran in my family until it ran into me. That's what they say about stuff like that. Stop the generational curses of poverty and trauma and things like that. It ran into my family until it ran into me. So that's my goal right now, with one of my goals with therapy and things like that. But as far like children of narcissists, let me tell you this right here, y'all. It's not your fault. If you are a child of a narcissistic person, it is not your fault. You were born to these toxic people, to one toxic parent, two toxic parents, one toxic parent and one enabling parent that just keeps you in these situations, because they want to keep the family together, or they don't, they've been financially abused and can't leave. Whatever the reason is, y'all. I know everybody's situation is not the same. I'm not faulting anybody or anything like that. I know everybody's situation is the same. Some people can't leave. You've been a stay-at-home parent for an extended period of time. You've been financially abused. You've been isolated. You're in a different country or whatever. You have your own trauma and stuff that you have to deal with yourself. I understand it, y'all. I'm not blaming you. I'm just telling you the dynamics. This is for the children. It's not for you. You know what I mean? So as a narcissist, as a person, raising kids as a narcissist, like sometimes I struggle empathizing with my children, and it is absolutely not their fault. So as a child of a narcissist, it is not your fault. Your parents, your narcissistic parent or parents have trouble empathizing with you. It's not that they don't care about you. It's probably that they don't know how to care. They don't know how to care. Maybe they were raised in the chaos. Maybe they themselves are also children of narcissists or toxic people or psychopaths or sociopaths. Maybe you got a damn sociopathic grandpa or ASPD grandma, something like that in your family line. Maybe they raised your parents. Who raised them? Who raised your parents? Understand that dynamic as well. I feel like understanding that dynamic of who raised your parents can help you, because if your parent is a narcissist, understanding what made them who they are can help you. So me personally, I don't think my dad is a narcissist. I feel like I don't think my dad is a narcissist. I don't really know him like that. Could he be a narcissist? Absolutely. But I know for certain he's had a lot of childhood trauma. His father unalived himself when my dad was like 7 or 8 years old. So there's some childhood trauma in my dad's life. I used to harbor a lot of anger towards my father for not being there for me emotionally or whatever. He was there physically. He would be there physically. We used to see him all the time, but he was just emotionally unavailable. He was just, just not there. He was just a blank slate of a human being. You know what I mean? I used to blame, like, what are you doing? So in that circumstance, I used to always try to earn his love and stuff like that. He wouldn't give it to you. He didn't know how. In my youth, I used to blame him. Like, this man is a horrible person. I used to blame my mama for picking this horrible person. Like, mama, why you had to lay down with this horrible ass man and make me and my brother? Why'd you do this? I used to blame my mama for him. So I used to harbor anger for both of my parents. You know what I mean? So am I a child of a narcissist? No, my mom's not a narcissist. But my dad, could he be? Yeah, but he definitely has some trauma in his life. You know what I mean? He definitely has had some trauma. He found his father, my paternal grandfather, my paternal grandfather, who I never met, of course, because he unalived himself. When my father was 8 years old, 7, 8 years old, he unalived himself. Got up one Monday morning, 5:30 in the morning. You know what? Then instead of making coffee and getting up and going to work or whatever, he went into the bathroom, went into his downstairs bathroom, pulled out a small caliber pistol, put it to his head, and said goodbye to the world. While his wife, my grandma, rest in peace, Mary Frances Chandler, my grandma And my uncle, my aunt, and my father were in the house. So he went in his house, pulled a pistol out, and took himself to see whatever you believe in. He took himself off the world. You know what I mean? I just thought about that, y'all. That's a very similar situation I go through right now. I get up at 5:30 in the mornings. I have 3 kids. I have my grandpa had two boys and a girl, and so do I. Huh. Interesting. I just thought about that. I just put that together, just right in front of y'all. And my grandfather himself had 2 boys and a girl and a wife, and I get up at 5:30 in the mornings, and I also have one of those things. But I've never thought about doing that. I wouldn't do that. I just thought about that though. It's just like the symmetry in my life. I just like it parallels to him. You know what I mean? Damn. Just thought about that. It's kind of crazy. Dang, this is good. Eye opening. Sorry, y'all. But yeah, that made my father went down there. Bang! He wakes up in the morning before school. Monday morning, it's school time. Instead of getting up and going to school, guess what? You get up and go find your father in there with, smoking, literally the smoking gun. You know what I mean? So that happens. They created some trauma in him as a child that might emotionally shut him down. That's a traumatic experience. It might emotionally shut my father down, so he couldn't love me and care for me like he needed to. He knew he did it in the only way he knew how. Was it enough for me? No, absolutely not. But is that the only way he knew how to love? Yeah, that's the only way he knew how to love. It wasn't enough for me. That's just him. So as a child of a narcissistic person, you might can understand that, the parents might not hate you. They might just be jealous of you because you grow up better than they did, because that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way society is supposed to be. Your kids are supposed to grow up better than you did. But as a narcissistic parent, sometimes you get jealous of that. Like, damn, I wish I had the access and the resources that y'all have. You know what I mean? That y'all have when I was younger. I would have been further on in life. Rabble. I've said that to myself. I get jealous of my kids sometimes because they have a father in their life that's active and trying to emotionally be there for them. You know what I mean? I'm jealous of my own kids. So I know as a child of a narcissistic parent, sometimes your parents are going to be jealous of you and try to hold you back. Not because they hate you, but because they are battling their own internal demons and the feeling of not being sufficient in their own life. You know what I mean? Not being sufficient in their own life, so they take it out on you. A lot of narcissistic parents take out their feeling of inadequacy and ineptitude on their children because the children are closest to them. You mean you're closest to me, so you get the brunt of who I am. You get the brunt of my anger. You get the brunt of my frustration. You get the brunt of everything. So as a child of a narcissistic parent, you're going to get the brunt of who they are. It's just how it goes, y'all. I know it's not fair because you cannot choose who you were born to. You can't choose your parents. You can't choose your mom and dad. You know what I mean? If you could choose, would you choose these? If you, as an adult right now, you're looking back at it, or as a teenager, whoever you are watching this video, would you choose the same parents? If you can go back, would you would you re-pick these parents? Not just the toxic dad, or the empath mom, or the empath dad and narcissistic mom. Would you pick this combination of these two? Probably not. But you didn't have a choice. These are the cards that you were dealt with. And I know it feels unfair sometimes, but as an adult, you have to work through that stuff. Sometimes, like the unfairness as a child of a narcissist is you have to spend a part of your adulthood working through the trauma from your childhood. You have to spend part or all of your adulthood dealing with the stuff that you experienced in childhood because you had maybe one or two toxic, emotionally unavailable parents. And sometimes, the toxicity is physical. Sometimes the abuse is physical. It's not just emotional yelling and screaming at the mom or dad. It's the physical stuff in front of the kids. So you see this. You grow up in chaos. So sometimes you grow up in a chaotic environment. You might find yourself in chaotic environments when you get older. But again, y'all, you can work on this. I know therapy is not an option for everybody. There are support groups. There are literally, Google Children of Narcissists on Facebook. Google it on Facebook. Search Children of Narcissists on Facebook. There are big groups out there that help specifically children. They're catered towards children of narcissists. You mean, I was a child of a narcissist. I felt like my mom hated me. Your mom might have actually hated you, or which is more empowering for you? Thinking that your mom or your dad actually hated you, or thinking that they love you up to the capacity that they were capable of, which probably isn't enough for you. Which definitely wasn't enough for you if you feel like they hated you. If you feel like they were jealous of you, you feel like they tried to hold you back and things like that. Ask yourself these questions right there, because I feel like they can empower you more than they take away from you. You know what I mean? I just feel like reframe your experience. Reframing your childhood. My mom hated me. Change that into my mom loved me in the only way she knew how. You know, if you Tony Robbins says, he's not telling you. Tony Robbins says blame more effectively. He said there are a lot of successful people in this world that had horrible parents, and these people that became successful are only successful because of it. They had horrible parents sometimes, not horrible parents, inept parents. Because he said, I mean, look at his seminar. It says, "I am not your guru." He says it to a woman. He's like, I know you had a drug addict, unavailable father, but if you had the father if you had the father you needed, you wouldn't be the person you are right now. He said, I'm not telling you to not blame him. I'm telling you to blame him more effectively. Because if you're going to blame him for all the shit, you got to blame him for all the good stuff that came out of you, who you are right now. You wouldn't be the person you are right now without the experiences you had as a child. Yeah, a lot of these experiences are traumatizing and stuff like that, but he just said blame more effectively. And I know there's levels to this, y'all. I know SA and all the other stuff having the kids, I don't know how the hell you blame more effectively through that. You know what I mean? Because that is just unacceptable. That blame them to hell. You know what I mean? Blame them to the grave. Blame them to the grave. I mean, put them in the grave with that blame. I hope that blame hurts them to the point where they do actually pass away from the blame hurting them so badly. You know what I mean? But these situations do arise for people, y'all. Just like as a child of narcissist, it's not your fault. You couldn't choose these people. You know, the healing is on you. The abuse is not your fault. The healing is on you, though. I tell these people, it feels burdensome to have to heal from some stuff that you had no control over in your childhood. But like the abuse is 100,000% not your fault. You were a kid growing up into this chaotic environment. You were born into this chaotic environment. You cannot choose your parents. You can choose your relationship partners, but you cannot choose your parents. So the abuse is not on you. Getting your ass beat, getting emotionally abused when you were younger, that is not on you. The healing journey, the healing part of it, that's on you. As an adult now or as a teenager, whoever you are listening to this video, the healing is on you. Your parents cannot help you heal. You have to heal on your own. Therapy, talk to me, talk to anybody else, talk to whoever you need. You join some groups, work on you, heal you. It's not your fault. You are loved. They loved you in the only way they knew how, which is probably just lack. Unless you had a psychopath parent, there's a whole new story right there, y'all. Anyway, y'all, I don't feel like this episode is a little gloomy or whatever, but thank y'all for tuning in to another episode. I really, truly appreciate every single one of y'all, because as much as y'all learn from me, I promise you, I'll learn even more from you. Thank you. Until this is out. Peace.